Hey, and welcome to another episode of Back from the Future, where we talk about technology from the past, present, and future. Now, today I've got my Bambu Labs P1S all set up, and as you can see, it's printing a part out now as we speak. In the last video, I did the unboxing, where I've sort of uploaded the unboxing video after all this time, and now my printer's running and I'm printing out my first functional print, which I'll come to in a second. But I just wanted to say to you, everybody that's watching, I'm actually, when it comes to actually owning a 3D printer and basically doing modeling and going through filaments and everything, I'm starting from scratch as a newbie. And I'm going to go through this journey with you. Eventually I want to start a 3D printing business, like a store, where I print where I design stuff in CAD, whether it be in Onshape, Fusion, or Tinkercad, whatever, and come up with these ideas, visualize them, design them, and then print them and see if I can sell them. So sort of like as a side hustle. And also I've got many projects that I've got in mind that I want to share with you, and you know, as a community I think it'd be great if we went through this all together. If you're new to 3D printing, you know, this is a great way to join me in this journey to discover loads of things. And it doesn't matter if you don't have a Bambu Lab P1S, or if you've got a newer generation of printer or a Creality or whatever, it doesn't really matter, because in the end of the day the printer is the tool, and it's what's important up here and how we translate that in terms of our designs and stuff like that. So just to give you an idea of some of the things that I'm be doing in we're going to be looking at how we can do dovetails on 3D printed things, and then how to plastic weld. This is an upcoming video that we're going to be doing, and I've got so many ideas of, you know, that I can't even, you know, in my mind come out and tell you. It's just so many. And this is a little thing. Now you might be wondering what this is, but I'm going to give you a clue. Well, I'm not going to give you a clue, I'm going to tell you what I'm actually doing. I'm going to be building a Flux capacitor 1-to-1, and I'm going to be using a lot of 3D printed elements and designs to build this Flux capacitor, but that's coming up in a future episode. That's something that is very, if you're into that kind of thing, you might be interested in. Now, when I bought my Bambu Labs, I got a little accessory box full of goodies, and they gave us an extra nozzle. I'm nowhere into using this yet. Maybe when that one gets blocked or jammed, I'll change that over. I think these are a set of wipers to clean the nozzle cleaner. What does it say on there? It doesn't say anything on there. Hot end screws, that they'll come in handy, I'm sure. We've got loads and loads of extras. Extruder screws. Got that somewhere now. Spool holder screw. Oh, and this is the most important. I've got some Allen keys in here. Right, if someone wants to tell me what this thing is, it looks like a test tube. It looks like a spring with some kind of wire in there. I'm not sure what that's for. I'm going to have to look into that. But the thing I wanted to talk to you about is the scraper. Now you get a scraper blade in here, and this is kind of interesting because I thought I'd have a crack at building, well, sorry, printing a scraper, not building a scraper, printing. So it comes with I think two pieces of, in here, comes with two magnets, I think, plus a blade, right? So let's jump over to the computer and let's have a look at the model I chose in Bambu Studio and all the things that I needed to do to print it. So I'm just going to pull up my Bambu Studio And in the search bar, I just typed in scraper, and a list of scrapers come up, and I think this is the one that took my fancy. And I've got P1S, MS 2 colors. That's 154 minutes it claims, which is so I'm going to go download and open within Bambu Studio. Okay, yeah, switch now. Now, the thing is, this scraper was designed to be used in PLA matte grey and PLA green basic, which is probably the PLA that comes with your standard Bambu Labs printer when you get delivery of it. But I mainly use at the moment ABS. So what we're going to do is we're going to sync the filaments in the AMS unit. Okay, and what's happened there is you see the grey ABS and the green ABS. So what we need to do is change the filament. So we're going to go right click and change filament. And where you see matte, we're going to change it to the grey to this. Now you see an error there because it thinks the green is still PLA. So what we're going to do is quickly go to paint, and we're going to use the bucket tool, which is really handy. And we're just going to go green, whoops, change it to the ABS green. Go change, 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 change. Right, that's done. Escape out of that. We've got to change that one to change filament again to ABS. Great. And that red thing went away because it still thought we were going to print that in PLA, but we're not. So that's all sorted now. What we're going to do is make sure you're on advanced and global. And if you are printing in ABS, these settings are strictly for ABS. When I go to speed on ABS, I change that to 15, the initial layer millimeters, and I change that to 35. That's my secret sauce. When I go to, now I do this so we get a good bed adhesion layer. When we go to strength, we go, I think it's sparse infill. That's right. I change it from grid to gyroid. And I do that force of habit because gyroid makes it very strong. And what I like to do as well when I'm printing ABS is the outer layer brim auto, we're going to go outer brim only. And the other thing we're going to do is I want to make a nice little time lapse of this. So where you see time lapse, we're going to go with smooth time lapse. So what that does is you don't see the head spinning around all over the shop when we do the print. Right, okay. Now I've let this bed warm up for 20 minutes plus. You should always do that. So if you go to device, you can see that bed is very hot, and I only do this with ABS, okay? With the 2 filaments there. Okay, so we go prep and we go slice it. And you can see it's added a little brim right along here on both of them. So this should be quite sticky. Print plate. Detected both the filaments. Time lapse on, of course. Hour and 2 minutes, and let's rock and roll. And I can view the head See with the camera what's going on. There you go. The print is now done, so let's have a little look what's inside, what's it printed. So I don't want to touch the plate with my fingers, right? Don't want to ever do that. Don't know if you can see that. But yeah, that looks quite decent. I'm going to take this off the plate, put the screws in, and we'll have another look. And I've finally printed this 3D printed scraper. If you have a good look at it, it is an absolutely lovely. You printed it out really well. It's quite sturdy as well. Now the thing is, when I printed this out, the thing is, I personally think the screws that came with it, it needs to have a screw that goes in through one end and maybe a bolt on the back, because you can see there's you might be able to see there's a tiny little air gap in there, and that's where the screws haven't properly gone all the way through. I can fiddle around with it and fix that. That's not a problem. Be careful, the blade is very, very sharp. I will be putting links to getting this model so you can print it and download it yourself. It really is really a lush bit of kit there, and printed out really well. The irony is, if you bought something like this, it probably cost you a couple of quid, maybe even a fiver, $5 or £5. But because you can print basically most of it, screws cost next to nothing, blade cost next to nothing, you've got a tool there, you know. And that's a great thing about 3D printing. If you need something really quick, and you can either design it yourself or print it yourself, and that is such an amazing thing. And you can share it with the community, or if you're a little bit of an entrepreneur, you can design something and potentially sell it and make a little bit of a side hustle, which I'll be looking into doing in the future. I also printed a and the other thing about it is, you may have seen when I was printing this out, where it came to the camera settings and time-lapse settings, I picked smooth. So what it would do was it would take pictures of this being printed, but every time it takes a picture, the head is out the way, so you don't see the head wishing around, and it takes more of a cleaner picture. The thing is, if you've got a P2S, that takes time-lapse pictures even better than the P1S. But if you're printing in PLA or PETG, you can get a separate time-lapse kit, which I've got, which I'll be going through it, and you can open the door and you can get a more of a professional camera to take the time-lapse footage. I'll be going through all that with you in a later video, and you know, we'll have a quick look at the time-lapse footage of this being printed. One thing I will say is the time-lapse video, I personally think, isn't very good, because what I should have done, my dinosaur brain, I should have had the print much closer to the camera so you could see it printing better. But it is what it is, and it ain't what it ain't. And also, when I printed the holder, as you can see, it didn't print very well because it slightly rose from the bed. Now the reason it's done that is because I am printing in ABS, and ABS needs more of controlled conditions to print. So it might be a dirty bed, which I'm going to clean anyway, and also the actual internal environment might not have been at the right temperature. I might have needed to let it sit there for a little bit longer to get to a better, more warmer temperature in the internal bed. But you know, it is what it is, and it ain't what it ain't. Also, another thing to take into account is this blade is very, very sharp, and the retaining holes or location pins are slightly offset. I didn't know that, so I was fiddling around and I realised, well, the location pins are a bit fiddly, bit all over the place. But then I realised I put the blade the wrong way around, fitted in place, sorted. And yeah, it's a great bit of kit, and hopefully you guys are going to be joining me on this journey. We're going to be doing some really cool stuff, and I'm a beginner and I don't know really that much about it, 3D printing, but I'm starting from scratch, and I'm going to hopefully be going through it with you, things I learn. I'm happy to share it with you, my ideas, and hopefully if you guys can leave comments and give me some of your thoughts and ideas, and maybe even comment on things that you'd maybe like me to look into. And with that, I'll catch you on the next episode.
If you liked this video, please feel free to subscribe to our channel, press the bell notification button, and get notified when a new video comes out. Please leave a thumbs up. If you enjoyed this video, please leave comments and let us know what your thoughts and suggestions are for future videos.
And we will see you in the future, if there is one.